Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is my first voiceover video I am doing. I decided to play some nightmare matches and I thought I'd go through my thought process, discuss some of the things I think the survivors shouldn't do, some of the things I shouldn't do, and some of the really good plays. So let's just get into it. Okay, so I've been playing Nightmare a lot more recently, and in this match I banned Journalist, Batter, Mechanic. Those are generally the people I ban when I'm playing Nightmare. Journalist is quite a good counter for Nightmare. Mechanic is annoying. Batter, just, I don't want to deal with him. Ban him, basically whoever I play, doesn't really matter. So, as you can see, only 2 survivors actually reached a cipher, and I'm already forcing the Lanternist off. Nightmare's quite a good counter into Lanternist. His dash can usually get her before her image switches positions. So, whilst I know a lot of hunters are banning her right now, she's not somebody I choose to ban. I could have gone for her. It probably would have been fine, but my logic is that she's already been forced off of a cipher. The cipher progress, as you can see, is really, really bad. So I'm perfectly content switching targets to the Gardener. This is a very early hit, and something that I've only started doing recently is bringing Warp on my Nightmare. I used to bring Blink, and I think it was Aka in IVL. I saw him bring Warp in his Nightmare, and I was like, wait a minute, that's a very good idea. Because Nightmare attack recovery, it can feel quite long. I used to play a lot of Joseph, so it definitely feels very long to me. So bringing Warp to just counteract the distance gained from those missed dashes is something that I found really useful since I've started bringing it on him. Lance is just running into a tree. It happens to the best of us. It's a free rescue, but I'm fine with that. Again, the ciphers are really bad. I know that Lanternist has been forced off a lot of times. Wildling isn't on a cipher. Gardener's not on a cipher. Only one person is decoding peacefully right now. Another sort of, Nightmare does counter Wildling. His dashing is something that Wildling can't really avoid. It's a bad matchup for these survivors. It's definitely not a Nightmare counter comp. And that's the second down on the Gardener. And it's forcing the Priestess off this cipher that is really, really high. It's very close to being done. I know that they're healing, but that's fine. If you get time during your matches, I definitely recommend breaking these walls so that they can't set up the broken loop, because it's so annoying. Wildling's coming back in for the second rescue. I miss a billion hits right there, that's fine. And very quick down. Full presence Nightmare is very difficult to deal with. I understand that. I do think Wildling should not have gone for any harassment plays, because again, the dashing from Nightmare on his ball is unavoidable. He should have left the area. I know he wanted to harass me, but sometimes you just need to choose your losses, So I always bird onto a cipher, even if I'm not entirely sure someone's on it, just because then it prevents it from being decoded, and if they do choose to decode it and I can't TP onto them, it still slows their decoding progress. And I'm sort of just looking around, see the portal, I'm like, okay. It was a good flywheel, but I have double dash now, so it was kind of redundant. I think... Yeah, there we go. I couldn't remember if I found him here. I did. Priestess comes in and heals. She heals this Lanternist ridiculously fast. She's already up. Back in the game. But they still have 3 ciphers left. No one's really decoding right now, so it's fine. And I prefer to go for a very early hit over trying for a Terror Shock. You know, if I was, you know, playing Joseph, or for example, I would probably go for a Terror Shock. But with Nightmare, you can regain distance so quickly. I'd rather just get an early hit, forced early rescue to slow the decoding progress again, than go for the Terror Shock plays. I do highly recommend bringing Confined Space if you're playing Nightmare. I know a lot of people bring Trump Card Detention, very standard build. I did run that earlier on, but I just find that the extra pallet breaking, stopping the loops around, you know, the buildings is just far more useful. And with Warp now, you really don't need that Trump card, in my opinion. Priestess is pulling an overtime with these heals. Again, I don't really care who I down. This was kind of just unlucky. A bit unlucky for the Lanternist. She got. I don't know, maybe it was on purpose. Maybe she wanted to body block. But it was just a bit unfortunate. And this portal placement, I'm not really sure. Ignore that. I'm not really sure what she was going for there, because again, on sort of straight lines like this wall, Nightmare can very easily catch you if, you know, no matter where you are, what side, you can easily catch up. And again, this is just another visual of how Nightmare counters Lanternist. Okay, the next match is coming up. I do recall having these next 2 matches that I've put on having some ping issues. I think that there were either American or Asian players in these matches, so you might see me lagging a little bit, but I still got the win, so that's okay. So my first target is Lawyer. Never try to mind game a Lawyer. Just don't do it. You won't win. He has his map. Again, Confined Space, very useful, you know, in, you know, maps like Leah's Memory, where someone might want to loop that again, but now they can't because it's locked off, which is exactly what you want, because Nightmare is slow. When he's not dashing, he is slow. That is something I do quite often when I think a survivor might be waiting at the pallet. Oh, lag. Because Nightmare is surprisingly hard to pallet stun. He's deceivingly large. His top half is very tall, so you might think he's in a pallet when he technically isn't, according to the game. This is very unfortunate for me, but it's fine. This Lawyer is doing a very good kite. As you can see, this team got onto ciphers much faster. It's a bigger map, so I can't force them off the ciphers like I did in the last game. And this Lawyer is definitely doing a really good job making use of the area he spawned. Always put your decoders in the factory. You know, you might want it, they might not want it. I don't care. Make them take it. It is a very good area for any hunter. So, yeah, this is a really good flywheel as well. Definitely not something I could pull off. So, big kudos to this Lawyer. And again, just faking the pallet, because I don't want to deal with a mind game that lasts the entire match. Another pallet. I could remove my so if I remember what it's called, my claw, I don't fucking know, from him, and just go for a normal hit, but in the end he drops it, so it's fine, and the down is coming very soon. The cipher progress is extremely good. At this point in the game, I am aiming only for a tie. You know, I know that they're going to be able to pop very, very soon. The lawyer's kite was amazing. I consider going to the chair for, you know, it's better to get a cyber chair as soon as possible, but this chair is harder to rebound from, so I decided to use this chair instead. Magician is coming for the rescue. Sort of just stare at him, little showdown. I choose to break the pallet because, again, I wouldn't have wanted to go for a terror shock. Anyway, that was a bad move, getting the chair hit. But it is what it is, happens. But that pallet that I destroyed, it can be very annoying. So this here was definitely survivor error. I think I would have hit the lawyer anyway, but that magician... I don't even know what it's... I don't know what anyone's ability is called, I'm not gonna lie. The magician wand image, it definitely got in the lawyer's way, and there is potential that he could have maybe cut it a little bit longer at that point, got to a better area. So I have a good friend who plays a lot of lawyer, and I know that he doesn't generally bring BT on his build, so I'm always prepared for a no BT lawyer. And when I hear how close this Cypher is, I kind of know, and the Seer trying to get the body block just solidifies it, and I was lucky enough that I managed to get the lawyer. I do think they should have popped there, you know, yeah, he wouldn't have got up, but it's his last chair anyway, you know, they should have popped while I was in attack recovery, get somebody on the gate, because Magician was already sort of going towards the gate. I think it would have been better for them to have popped there, but I don't know, you know, it's hard to communicate if you're all randoms, if you're not in a full VC team, so I completely understand why they might not have. What I don't understand is where everyone went. I expected somebody to sneak around the back and pop that there, but it didn't happen. I was happy, obviously. I'm very lucky to have basement. It's always positive to have basement when the Cypher's primed. It makes it immensely harder for them to get out. Another good flywheel, again. And I luckily get this hit. And again, there's still nobody popping the Cypher, and very unfortunate for this Seer here. So I check him. I realise now Magician has no borrowed time, something I definitely should have realised before. But you know, sometimes you just get, especially when you have such a bad early game like I did, you sometimes get a bit panicky. You just go for anyone, you know, aiming for a tie. But Nightmare endgame is extremely strong. He can very easily delay people getting onto the gates with the bird, and then he can wait out basically, essentially the entire chair before anyone is on a gate. Which is exactly sort of what happens here. I have tinnitus, but at this point, I'm thinking it's far too close for anyone to actually get in to get the rescue. So I do still have my warp, but you know, when I get into a position where I'm going to win a match that I was losing, I'm not going to get greedy for extras. I'd rather just get into another match, keep playing against new people, practicing tactics, etc. So I didn't see the mage there. I probably should have. That's the Joseph blindness coming in. You know, played him for a long time. That doesn't leave you, not easily. This is. It's again those straight lines against Nightmare, very hard to counter. He could have dropped the pallet, it probably would have pallet stunned me, but it also had the potential to just drop. Now that was quite a lucky elbow pad. He almost got a bit stuck there, but that's fine. and our final match. Now, in the post-match of this match, the cowboy was being a bit toxic to his teammates, which I did find funny. You'll see why soon enough. But I was surprised when Prisoner wasn't spawned in Factory, and I was even more surprised when the Enchantress started running into me. But, you know, people have their preferences. I know that Shack is still a very good area, but in this game there wasn't actually a cypher at Shack, so it was forced to rotate out, which isn't ideal. But my eyes are locked onto this Enchantress, so the Prisoner's safe for now. I sort of mind gamed myself a little bit there, but we all do it. And it's very unfortunate, she cancels my attack recovery. And instead of chairing straight away, I go towards this corner chair because I know that the Prisoner is working on one of these two ciphers. And I want to be able to pressure it. Now, these walls, they're not like the broken loop down in the other corner, but I just break them to increase my visibility. I've done this since I used to play Joseph. You can down a survivor with a wall, but the chances of that happening are pretty minimal, and I'd much rather have the extra visibility than playing with hopes and dreams. But yeah, that cowboy miss lasso was something I did bring up in the post match because he was being quite rude to his teammates, and I don't really stand for that. Yeah, she does get a speed boost, and as you might be able to see, I'm keeping my distance for now because I know she has this 3-stack, and when I'm at this distance, there we go. Keeping with the Nightmare Dash, you can be at a good distance away, and she can't stun you, and then it's only once you're in the dashing animation that she can get you. Now, I do a bit of a silly here. I forgot why I wanted to down the cowboy in the first place. I picked him up, knowing the Prisoner would come for harassment, and then I didn't down him again. I kind of just forgot why I wanted him to be downed. So he does get this lasso, but it's fine. It didn't buy loads of time. It bought a bit of time. It's just a mistake on my end, but it's perfectly fine. They've got only 300% decoding progress. Already someone down, dead, and another survivor about to see the chair. Priestess lurking there. Love it. I move him over to this chair because it is a harder chair to rebound from. You have essentially two options. One of them is to run around the rock and die straight away, unless you get a good body block. And the other option is to run to this pallet here. But then you have two people running towards it at the same time, and potential for sandbagging. You're guaranteed to hit after anyway, so it's fine. Yeah, there we go. Pallet stun. It felt extremely long during the match, I remember. I was like, wow, why is this lasting so long? But it's fine because only one person's decoding. It is a Prisoner. He can decode from afar. He can decode technically two ciphers at once. But he's no mechanic, It's not a lot of decoding progress. It's slowing his down, and it's only a little bit being transferred to another cipher. Okay. That's the second down on the cowboy. It's got this priestess and supporters. Break it a little bit, and breaking the Prisoner connection. So they're not doing bad. This is an okay place to be, but they definitely really need to reset. They are they're sort of greeding for this cipher here, which is definitely a misplay on their end. you know, you have that one in the corner, you have that one in, it's like, can't tell, honestly. Again, breaking the walls. I didn't break all of them because I know that they're both very close, so I didn't want to waste too much time breaking those walls. I just want to go for the downs while I can, but they have this cipher here that they're greeding for, and this was a good little priestess trick. I haven't seen it very much because, you know, not many people play priestess because she's banned so often that people don't play her enough to be confident. But you know, it's a good little trick. You know, it buys it a bit of time. But again, if they'd been on full health, she wouldn't have had to go for that insta rescue there. Now, I know no one's going to come save. I know they need to reset here, and it's just a matter of me trying to find them. Spoiler alert: I don't. I cannot for the life of me work out where they are healing. Sending crows to ciphers. They are right there, as you can see, but my stupid being decides to check basement. You know, some people heal in basement. They didn't, which is good, because, you know, don't heal on basement. Because people like me will go and check, and then you're just stuck there. But they've got the heals off, which is perfectly good. They have the 44% cipher, which is the one in that broken loop corner. And here I just decide to go for this cowboy, who got an elbow pad, apparently. Now, I do feel I was robbed of a terror shock there, but it's okay. It's okay. You know, Netties can be a bit unpredictable. And, you know, I am keeping an eye on this cipher. You know, I've already got the tie at this point, so I can play a little less aggressively. I do like to play aggressively in general. You know, even on my Joseph, I play very aggressively with a TP confined build. But I'm sure in the future I won't be able to play like as aggressively as I do when I start going against higher tiers. But I'm going to enjoy it while I can. You know, slow games are boring games. But again, I think the priestess, she really should have used the time that the cowboy was containing to start up a new cipher or continue the one that's on 20%. I'm not sure which one that is. I believe it's the one in the other Broken Walls area. I don't think it's the one in Graveyard. And that was never going to hit. I shouldn't have even gone for that. It was never going to hit. Now, this cowboy does work me a little bit. I sort of mind game myself again. This area, I just really don't like this area. Because Nightmare is very slow. And whilst it's a straight passage through the middle, there's all this stuff, you know, a chair, these little gravestones all in the way. I just don't like having to chase there. And I could have used my warp there, I think. Again, another mistake on my end, but it turns out okay. I get it in the end. I'm just scouting out for this priestess, but Tinnitus goes away, and I realize she's transitioning. At this point, I know she's playing for dungeon. I know it's not in that corner. I'm just checking to see if she's hiding right in the corner of the map. And unfortunately, she does get crows, and in the end, my warp not being used was my saving grace, you know, because I would not have caught up to her if I didn't have my warp. She could have, I do believe she could have actually gone for it right there, but we have this pallet showdown, and I honestly not sure if that should have hit, but it did. and that's the end of the game. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's kind of a mess, but you know, we all start out somewhere. Anyway, until next time, bye bye.